Welcome. It's that time of year when those extra calories lurk around every corner. Frosted cookies at the office.
That's right.
Jelly donuts at church. Chocolates everywhere. Gifts of chocolates. And Thanksgiving, of course.
That's right.
Pumpkin pie. So it's that time of year when all those extras add up. And I have Thomas Jusayan, peak performance trainer and nutritionist, here to help us today, help you not gain those extra pounds between now and New Year's Day.
That's right.
So most Americans do. They put on anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds. So Thomas, when I asked him, what's wrong with a few pounds, what would you say, Thomas?
So gaining a few pounds here and there is actually pretty normal. You normally gain about 2 pounds to 3 pounds a week. So, but the problem with that is usually whenever you gain this weight all at one time, you're gaining 10 to 15 pounds in just a short period of time. And that part right there is making it harder and harder for you to lose it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So in order for you to lose that weight, you have to work extra hard for that, and it usually puts you behind, right? So that's why I said if you're going to gain some weight, a small pounds here and there is okay, but if you gain 10 to 15 pounds by the end of the year, that is going to be very hard for you to lose that weight.
It is so much easier, as everyone knows, to gain it than to lose it. But there is another dynamic here. I mean, people just think, what I was saying, what we were going to talk about today, with the holidays coming, everybody was like, yeah, I know what I need to do. I just need to exercise and not eat as much. And I said, no, that is not what you need to do. I mean, that's some of it. But as you know that, and it's not working.
That's correct.
And that's why you're dreading it, because no matter how hard you try, you're not very successful.
Right.
And so people give up. They just give up. And we want to give you a new vision today of how you keeping that weight off is so possible.
That's right.
So, Thomas, tell them some secrets.
So a lot of times during the holidays, we go through a lot of stress. And as we know, stress is going to be the number one culprit for us as far as weight gain is concerned. So a lot of people go through stress all year long. And in the holidays, it actually elevates whenever you know that there's a holiday coming, your family's coming over, you know, you have to give gifts, you have to earn a certain amount of money, your bonus is coming up, you're not really sure what's going to happen, you're going on vacation. So a lot of the stress that goes on during the holiday, aside from the stress of shopping, right, we know how much that is, the malls are packed.
Or just having to get out and do it. And a lot of people, because of that, order online now.
Yes.
But that can be stressful. I mean, there's so many options, and the finances, so that's where people can just try to put it out of their mind, but then they end up financially in debt.
That's right.
Which that stress.
It is. It's very stressful.
Yes.
And so instead of enjoying the holiday, here we are, you know, going through a stressful time when it's supposed to be a joyous time. And so, you know, as far as we know, stress in itself, it releases a lot of hormones in our body. So there's different type of stress, and you know, in my world, we normally put ourselves in a stressful way as far as the workout is concerned. It's palmaric stress, very acute stress, and that's a very temporary type of stress. But the ones that people go through throughout the year it's a long-term stress, and this is when cortisol levels are very high, and this is when you see inflammation happen, and this is when you see people are going through hair loss and digestive issues. You know, unwanted weight gain during the year. So this type of stress is what you call a muscle breakdown stress, right? You're actually breaking down muscle tissue in order for your body to survive. And this is a survival mode. And during the holidays, you're almost like trying to get through this holiday just to survive through the holiday, right? So again, you're going through another type of stress, and you're already going through this all year long from work and family and life. So this is the reason why people are gaining a lot more weight, because they're losing the essentials in their body.
The essential nutrients.
Essential nutrients, exactly.
Well, you know, we were talking about this new research that came out, and CNN was talking about it, and it was basically about weight gain. And the headline actually read, "It used to be easier to be thin." Yes. And they studied like 51,000 people over 20 years, and they actually found that millennials will end up fatter than people 30 to 50 years ago.
Wow, that's horrible.
Yeah, they said that on average, millennials are eating a lot the same in a lot of ways. I mean, still trying to do everything, but their BMI has gone up 2.3 points, and you know more about what that means.
Right, right. So as you see now, I honestly, most people that I've talked to, they don't eat that much. Their caloric intake is less these days than they were 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Right.
Right. We used to eat in abundance, and there's a lot of food, and I don't remember seeing this much low-fat, low-calorie snacks that I've seen today. But today, we're not eating as much food. I would say, in an average, about 1,600 calories.
Well, so 2.3 BMI, is that like, what is that? I was trying to figure it out. Is that like 10% body fat, more body fat?
It depends on the size of the person. So
okay.
It could be more, right?
That makes sense. So what they're saying is that millennials are going to have, and the new, what do you call the generation today?
Yeah.
What do they call it?
I think they're called millennials. I just call them millennials.
Yeah. But so basically today, it said they would have to, a 25-year-old today, which I guess would be a millennial, they have to eat less than people did 30 to 50 years ago, and they have to exercise more.
Exactly.
And so less calories, more workout, and it's just going to keep going up over time. So 20 years, you know, every 5 years, you're going to have to still eat less than they did 5 years ago and work out more. So eventually, I mean, it's crazy. It's not working.
It's not working. It's insanity. I mean, you see that over and over again. You see workouts getting harder and harder, and then people are eating less and less. You can see containers getting smaller and smaller, but people are still gaining more weight.
And the knowledge today is incredible with all the workout places, all the cool fitness places, you know, all the diet drinks and all the food. But there are, even with all the new understanding about food, there's so many ways to keep weight down, supposedly.
Right.
We have all the knowledge in the world, and it's not working.
It's not working.
And so there are these people, though, that have figured it out, and it, you know, it's interesting because it's the Center for Obesity Research and Clinical Practice. They're finally going, wait, this is not working. So obviously they are not the key. But Dr. Wallach talks to us a lot about weight gain being a nutritional deficiency, that and which is what you're saying, essential nutrients.
Exactly. Yeah. And so when you go through this stressful mode, your body's levels of cortisol are going to be high. And what happens to that is it starts to break down muscle tissue. And as we know, muscle tissue consists of all the nutrients that we take, 9 essential nutrients, fats, acids, amino acids. Especially a lot of people who's in the bodybuilding world, they take amino acids all the time, right? Multivitamins, 18 essential vitamins. But as you lose those, how are you going to replenish it back? Because you're only eating 1,200 calories.
Well, and it's interesting that you say that, because farmers put, when their horses or cattle are starting to do what they call crib, they're just chewing, like want to chew on anything, wood or plastic or, you know, and they'll know, oh, we need to get a mineral block.
Yeah. And
they'll go buy this big old mineral block and they'll put it in the field.
Exactly.
And then they'll eat that, and they eat the first one all the way down. And then they put another one out there immediately. And then they just nibble on it every day, and their cribbing goes away. Yeah. And so for us, it's what we call snacking, like we call needing to chew. Yeah. You know, and then there's the people that need to just chew ice or crunch on chocolate. Like, I've had people tell me that they put chocolate in the refrigerator or freezer because they need it to be crunchy. Right, and that's usually a sign of magnesium deficiency. Exactly. Right? Yeah. Yeah, so you see that all the time. People are crunching in ice. They don't know why. They just like the texture of ice, but they technically need magnesium. Right? Well, and it's helpful to know that, that you're deficient. Now, what are you deficient in? Right? Exactly. And I think for you to say magnesium, I have found that people, when they take magnesium, that, you know, they say that it even helps depression.
It does.
And so magnesium is always helpful to have, but it's better if you can just take the 90 nutrients all the time. Now, you were talking about them.
Right.
And so basically there's 60 minerals.
Right. 18 essential vitamins.
12 amino acids.
And 3 essential fats.
And they're all called essential, and that means that our body doesn't make them, so we have to put it in.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I'm trying out a new pack. I won't say who it's by, but somebody wanted me to try it, and it was supposed to have all the 90 nutrients. And I said, I'll try that. I will try that for a month. And so they gave it to me, and I've been taking it. And I told them yesterday, the only thing I noticed is that my joints have started to hurt. Mm. And my joints never hurt because I always get all these nutrients.
Right.
And so, you know, even our massage therapist yesterday were saying, Ann never gets a massage. And people are like, why? I go, I just never hurt. But I noticed that my knee, because I was a runner for a long time and I had knee problems, I had hip problems.
Right.
And my knee started to hurt again. And my hips started to hurt again. And I told her, I said, so what I have done is added more essential fatty acids, triple omega, you know.
Yeah, 6 and 9.
Yeah. And I added more calcium. So that's the only thing to me that health, that pack that they have is missing, is because I can tell, because something in my body, when I try them out, and I'll tell people I'll try them, and I'll let you know. Yeah. So it's really cool when you get all the nutrients, but also you don't get snacky. And for me, you know, I used to be crazy about Diet Coke.
Right.
I was just so addicted, and it would make me so snacky, but I did not know that until I started trying to cut back on it.
Right.
As Dr. Wallach, like, don't drink that because of the added sweeteners, right?
Right, and that spikes your sugar level up throughout the day. So a lot of times when you see a sugar-free drink that has artificial sweeteners, it immediately spikes your insulin up. And I've done this testing over and over again. I have my own glucometer at home.
You have a glucometer?
I have a glucometer. And I'm not even diabetic, and I test this all the time. I wanted to see how much it would spike my blood sugar from just an artificial sweetener versus just regular water or tea with no sweeteners on it. And then I can see the spike in it, and it takes a while for it to drop. And so the problem with that is that because of that, it gives you that feeling of hunger, right? Because your blood sugar is dropping into a level where it's not used to. And so now you're having this sweet snack craving throughout the day, and you don't understand that's the reason why people are eating every 2 hours, which is causing them to snack more. Most people are eating 6 times a day, right? 3 main meals and 3 snacks.
And you know what's interesting is the more I've learned about keto, I was listening to Dr. Berg the other day. I'm always listening to people, and he said our great-grandparents and grandparents had it right. They only ate 3 meals. And because they had a lot of fat. Yeah. They had a lot of fat. They had the healthy fat, the butter and the cream and the lard, and that their bodies burned that fat pure, and it lasted longer, and they only needed 3 meals, and that was very healthy. And in all our knowledge, all these fitness people were like, eat 5 meals, eat 6 meals, but your blood sugar goes up each time. And it's not good. That's not good.
That's the thing about research, is when they did their research, they saw people's blood sugar dropping, right? And they didn't anticipate the fact that when your insulin levels are low, this is when your body burns body fat, because glucagon levels goes up, right?
Glucagon.
That's right.
See, that's the stuff that Thomas knows. When we get back, we're going to talk more about that glucagon and when you have that metabolic problem, what to do so that you don't get snacky and can have portion control.
Awesome.
Portion control, because that's what they say. Everything I was reading last night kept saying portion. It had like 10 ways or 5 ways, and portion control. But I'm like, when you are snacky, when you are deficient, you're like, you go. That's why you go to a buffet at a party, and people just grab everything. I'm gonna pull that camera just a little closer, just a little closer. Zooming in on you. How's that look on the Facebook? Too close?
No,
not bad. Not bad.
That's why actually you can be seen.
Can I be seen? So, if you want to repeat that, you can. Do you want me to grab it? write it down.
Mm-hmm.
8255. Yes. All right. I can say how many people. So this is, so where do you want to go from here?
So since we're talking about portion control, we went into the segment of blood sugar. Talking about sugar.
Yeah, because that's, yeah, I see that. And fruit juice, it is sugar, right? That's great. That'd be great.
We give it to our kids in the morning. Pack it in the lunch.
I've been working with him and he keeps him in trouble at school. And I'm like, well, and I told him my diet and not to have sugar. And so they were saying, we're not getting it. You told me like I'm in the office, I have sugar all the time.
Yeah.
When do you have sugar? He said, I take care. Before school, they drop him off and they give him water.
Wow.
And then at lunchtime, he just has money in the thing, so he buys ice cream every day.
Right.
And I'm like, this is not working. I told the parents, he said he has sugar all the time. No, yeah, we never give him sugar.
You give him sugar.
So I told them, they're like, I said, can you have the thing? You have the bacteria, not let him have the sugar. Do you know he has dessert every day?
Yeah.
He has food.
His blood-brain barrier has been blocked by the sugar because it's no longer activating his brain cells because it's always spiking up. You know, he's so used to just getting that quick activation from sugar that when it drops, he doesn't know how to get resources from fat. Right? His brain is basically blocked out, so now he can't pay attention. Then they get diagnosed with ADD, and they put them on Adderall, and then now they're almost like zombies at school. You know?
Well, Dr. Wallach has a book called Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's Hell's Kitchen. It's called Causes and Cures of Obesity and Metabolic Syndrome.
Yeah.
And so we have that book. And that's basically it's a whole book, right? On the nutrients, but also that cause that, but also the things like this. Because metabolic syndrome is part of what's causing it.
Yeah.
And so it's a really good book if you get a chance.
Take a look at that one.
Good. And, so here's the thing, I just stopped printing them out. None of these, you know, they're not, everybody tries that.
Yeah.
Right? I think parties, you know, it's on the table. So that's what I want to give them is not just saying listen, they can read it, right? We want them to know what really you can do. Because I am amazed. Like, I've struggled the last few days. I've been so busy, and I told them, I know why. Because I'm not managing my nutrients. And so this morning I got up early, did my routine, you know, got my nutrients, you know, went outside, did some board reading, focused on the 3 things I want to focus on, things like that. And then I hadn't been doing nothing, but those 3 things I do together for myself, I don't get time.
Yeah, so giving your body time to relax, right? Calming down your nervous system, and just allowing it to breathe.
We can talk a little bit about that somewhere in there. You can mention that. You know, Tony Robbins does that. He always said he did that. Here we go. You'd like to get better? Who doesn't want to get better? Everyone wants to get better.
That's right.
And Thomas is here to help us do that, and he wants to make sure that you have the phone number to call in.
Yep, if you guys want to call in, it's 214-810-8255. You guys can call in and ask any questions you want. And if you have anything specific, now's the time to call.
When you were saying, like, people were asking you what was the number, and I know that we have it in our intro, but people have to listen. And I'm sorry, there was just a piece of debris flying through the window. I was like, wait. And so being able to know the secrets for weight loss, everybody knows, or they know history, right? They know everything they learned about what they should do to eat well and lose weight since they were like 5.
Right.
Okay. Kindergarten taught them basics about eating. And somewhere along the way, it all kind of got convoluted. But nowadays in school, they eat so bad.
That's right.
I was telling Thomas on break, I have this child who told me that I had more than one, that they have money in their lunch account and they just have ice cream. They'll have ice cream every day. You know, they'll have waffles with syrup for breakfast at school. So there's just sugar and sugar and sugar.
Right.
And so the parents are bringing them in because they're not behaving well. And they're like, I just don't know why it's only at school, you know, because they're trying so hard outside of school.
Right.
But even then, I noticed on your list you had fruit juice. Don't have fruit juice. And I'm like, oh, but it sounds so healthy.
Right, and a lot of parents argue with me about this a lot because they said, then what, how can I give them vitamins? I said, well, then you can supplement vitamins, but you don't have to inject it in there through juice because there's no fiber there to stop the sugar from rushing through, right? So a lot of times when we eat fruit, I say, give them a fruit, but don't give them the juice.
Mm-hmm. Now that's interesting because, you know, the apple has so much fiber and other things in it, and that helps slows down.
It slows down the digestion.
Yes, right. Which slows down the metabolic syndrome,
That's
right?
right?
So it doesn't cause the blood sugar to rise as fast.
That's
so
right.
It does it at a pace that it can handle or something like that.
Exactly. Now, it's a different condition when you already have type 2 diabetes because your blood sugar is already high. So by giving them fruit, you're actually raising it back up, right? And so you're not fixing the condition. So if they're normal, give them fruit over juice. If not, you know, go put it on a blender, add some more vegetables to that, and then give them something good. And add a little bit of fruit in there for taste, but not all the fruits. So don't give them 5 different fruits in one blend.
Or, you know, apple juice is a kind of, I mean, we talk about corn syrup all the time.
Right.
But apple juice is a form of that syrup as well. It's not corn, but it's apple, but it's not good for you just to have the juice.
One cup of juice has the same amount of sugar as 1 can of Coke. So you're basically giving them a can of Coke without the caffeine.
Yes. And so just because it's from a fruit, though it can be healing, it affects blood sugar so much there's like this other effect.
Right. And they've already removed all the nutrients out of it. They pretty much just press
the juice.
Fruit, and they just gave you fructose.
Yes, and there is a great documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead.
I think I've seen that one.
With Tom Cross Scott. What's his name? Anyway, Tom Cross. I think. He's so awesome. He's from Australia, and he has some juice, but people go, well, he juices, and I'm like, yeah, but he uses kale and spinach, and he has all these. He has all these greens, and then he adds like some fruit as well.
Right, very little fruit.
Very little fruit. Just
it's
for the
almost like
taste.
5 servings of vegetables. You can even do beets on there, and then he adds a little bit of fruit. You know, mostly from berries, and those are low glycemic.
He does add apples, but you know it's amazing because it healed his body of this. What they said was a rare disease, which we heard that a lot, a rare disease that wasn't curable.
Yeah.
And so, but he did it with both vegetables and a little fruit.
Right.
So you were going to talk about this metabolic syndrome and the glucogen with your glucometer, that you make sure about the sugar to keep it down. And that's what you let you call them clients as a trainer.
That's right. I call them my friends because, you know, I see them all the time, but, you know, they're family to me. They're all family to me. So that's important for me to let them know and provide them the information so that they understand that, you know, that they can change whatever they want to change, right? If they have the information at hand, all they have to do is just apply it.
Well, and I know table sugar, fruit juice, milk, and yogurt,
Exactly.
all have that sugar in them. And
Right.
so you just have to be careful about that.
Right. Exactly. So, you know, going into this list of simple sugars, and then simple sugars can be broken down by table sugar, honey, right, milk, yogurt. So in the taste like this, we give this to our kids all the time. We give them bread in the morning, we give them an orange juice, and we give them milk. And then we send them on to school.
Mm.
Then we wonder why they can't pay attention.
Or they get in trouble and can't sit still.
That's right.
Right?
Exactly.
And people too. That's perfect. Perfect. All right. God, going up to school, that was great breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh, honey.
Exactly.
I didn't see one last one. Honey.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and what else now?
It's crazy how much of this is true in breakfast cereal. When you think about the combination of breakfast cereal, and then you add honey bunches of oats. Let's just say honey bunches of oats. You got honey, sugar, grains, and then you put milk inside of orange juice. I bet you 90% of American kids these days have that for breakfast every morning.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I am going to mention hey, I'm actually getting time to do this. Yeah, on obesity. I was just going to share obesity. Alright. Obesity causes is peak performance. This is fun. Peak performance is older and trainer. Peak performance is
Older and trainer. Peak performance fitness is the name.
peak performance fitness. Owner and trainer. How's that?
You know, we can probably stay on the subject of sugar.
Yes.
You're probably
Real.
going to poke a lot of people's pride and emotions there.
I can't tell you. Okay, there we go. Now, is the real reason. Easily change the oh, there we go. Nice. Title.
Your programming. You're young dudes.
Take it. What's the real way to prevent holiday weight gain? That is what we are all about today. We don't want you struggling and just trying the same thing over and over and believing that you won't be successful. Just trying the same thing. Was it Einstein who said it? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
Exactly.
We don't want you to do that. We want you to know there is really an easy way to understand it and to be successful. And if I ever start missing my nutrients, and we were just talking about, I have this routine in the morning that I do. I take all my nutrients, all my supplements, I go outside, I do some deep breathing, and I think about what are the 3 most important things I want to do to get done in the day, and I really focus on that. and I close my eyes and I kind of meditate on that, on what I really want in the day, and just listen. You know, sometimes I'll be in the hot tub doing that, but I focus so that I'm successful for the day. And when I get out of that routine, I find I have a much harder time being snacky. And yesterday we had our grand opening. It was awesome. Thanks to everyone who came for our new clinic, Life Solutions, in Azle. Everybody was wonderful. But we did have snacks there. We had some healthy things, but I found that even though I didn't have them, because I wanted to have enough for everyone. And I felt like if I had one, I would just keep going. And so I was very aware of that. And then they had pizza later, and I was like, okay, I did. I had a couple pieces of pizza. And normally, it's not that I never have pizza, but I would have gluten-free, and I would, you know, balance it. And so I've had more trouble. So today, boom, got right back on my routine. And I feel great, and I haven't had trouble. And I know that routine, but we all kind of get out of it.
Right. And I have the same exact routine. I get up in the morning. Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But I get up a lot earlier, so I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I start doing
okay, I don't.
Yeah, but my day starts a lot earlier too.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if I don't do those routines, if I don't do my daily reading, if I don't do my daily breathing, if I don't do my supplements in the morning, it's going to be hard for me to function, because I have to tackle 12 to 16 hours of the day, right? I'm asleep 8 hours. I got to eat sometime in between, and I got to work and train all day. So you have to have a routine. And I think sometimes you have to reassess your routine to see if it's working for you. Because if it's not working for you, then you have to change something, right? Like you said, you don't want to keep doing the same routine if it's not working.
And people, though, they know what they need to do. I've had people tell me they get up, they know what they need to do, but they just do the same thing instead. They get their coffee, some of them get on their phone, a lot of them get on their phone. Yeah, okay.
Starts checking social media.
Yeah, and it's amazing the time that goes away. So who taught you your routine? Where did you learn that from?
So, I grew up in a Christian home. So for us, it's just, to me, it's just life experience in itself that tells me that I need to be closer to God. And that to me is going to be essential. And I know that if I get farther away, then my life is not going to make any meaning at all. So I have to make sure that I get closer to God. And the first thing that I do is when I wake up is I just thank Him. I'm driving into the gym, I thank Him for just even waking up, because you don't know if you're even going to wake up tomorrow.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. We found out yesterday, one of our daughters told us that a guy I just met a couple months ago, he had come by the office and wanted to talk to Dr. Slaughter, and he was busy, and he just shared some things. It was a friend from a long time ago, and that he felt like Jim maybe was upset with him because some of the things the guy did. And Jim, of course, he doesn't hold grudges or anything like that. He's he's the
most nicest guy I've ever met.
He is, and I told him, oh my gosh, I know he doesn't feel that way, right? So we had that conversation. The guy left, and we just heard yesterday he had a heart attack and died. Wow. And
how old was he?
40. Oh my gosh. Yes, and it was very shocking to Jim.
Wow.
And Jim just said, I've been trying to get to him. I couldn't find him. I was looking for the number, but it just seemed like yesterday.
Right.
And so he teared up, and I think realizing that, but having time with God for me as well, and listening to His nature, just being out, focusing. So we both prayed for the show today.
That's right.
Yeah, so it's got to be awesome. Having that time to really focus. And on my eating, I want to be successful this holiday season. And I know that with the grand opening, we have another grand opening, and then we have friends parties and all of that. There's food everywhere. Yeah. And I can have trouble if there's always buffets at parties, right? And I find that if I don't take my nutrients and I don't have my routine, without even thinking and not preparing ahead of time. So what I'll do before I go into a party or a friend's, like a small party, I will sit in my car for a few moments and focus.
That's a good one.
Before I go in, to prepare my mind. Because otherwise, what I find I do is that I'll start talking, and then I'll go over to the table and I'll grab whatever's there, cookies, and I tend to be drawn more to the sweets.
Right.
And I'll just talk and eat, and I will later be like, what happened to me? Like, what happened to me? How many things did I have that were just junk? And they may have had some healthier things or not. But that is not me. And so I know a lot of people will do that. So I do prepare my mind ahead of time.
Let's talk about that. There's a science behind this, and I know we talked about God, but there's a science behind this too that can support that. So when you're on the go, your body is in one mode, right? And then we know theory behind if you're in motion, you're going to stay in motion. So there's also a theory. There's also a response system as far as your body is concerned. That if you're resting, and your body is in a particular way or manner, then it's only going to respond based on what you're doing. So if you're eating, then your body is in the digestive mode, right?
Yeah.
So your body tends to pull hormones that allows you to do what you're supposed to do. So if we're eating and running and walking and driving, your body is not in the digestive mode. So what do you expect your body to do? So that means it's not going to provide you the nutrients. It's not going to digest the food, right? And it's definitely not going to allow you to absorb the nutrients. So you have to kind of sit down, relax, take a deep breath, take 3 deep breaths. And what I do is I pray before I eat. That way I can allow my mind to calm down. And from that point, then I start chewing. Then my body is ready for that food. And a lot of people don't even take the time to breathe.
No, right.
Yeah.
They don't take time to breathe.
No, not
especially
at
at parties. They aren't thinking either. They're not thinking it through. They're just talking and eating. And it really, they will eat without a plan. They'll eat just whatever's there.
Yeah.
And so I find with my nutrients, I have so much more self-control. But also, I have a routine. I try. If I forget the routine, it's not as easy. And so realizing that by focusing on what you want before you go in anywhere. Like I also do that when I get home, because I can be pretty, like after driving, in traffic, I can be pretty stressed. And so I don't want to bring that stress into the house.
Right. That's a good one too.
So I will sit in my car first, and I'll just prepare my mind, and I'll just pray, Lord, I don't know what's happened in there, and I don't know what's going to happen when I go in. So just prepare me to be able to put all this stuff behind, not focus on myself, and just be able to be prepared to be there for them. Because for so long I would just go in and blah, and then I'd be stressed.
Yeah.
Or need to take 30 minutes. Give me 30 minutes. Yeah. So I find that by preparing. And also, if I've eaten badly that day, I'm much more stressed out. Right. And I know that is the blood sugar and the drop and the up and the down.
Yeah, but you also have that guilty feeling that you know that you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
Isn't that horrible?
It is.
That's horrible. And that makes you eat worse.
It does. It does.
And that's why I say that with the nutrients, it's so much easier. But also realizing just the sugar and one of the things that, you mentioned I mentioned the sugar and the fruit juice and the milk and yogurt.
Yogurt,
and you were talking
honey. Yeah.
Oh, honey, that's the other one.
Yeah.
It's not just honey. It's also agave or
turbinado, brown sugar, even if it's organic. I mean, it's still sugar.
So what do you suggest? And I know not the sweeteners. What do you think about stevia?
Stevia is okay. There is still a spike in stevia. It's not as high as sucralose.
Have you checked it on your glucometer?
I've checked it on my glucometer. Yeah, you do have a little spike, but it's not that much. So if you're in fasting, so there's people who do fast, and I fast in the morning until probably 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. So I try to go at least 16 hours of fasting, and I do that about 2 to 3 times a week. And so I do want to make sure that whatever I'm ingesting is not going to break my fast.
And you do that. I know you talked about that when we were talking about keto.
Yeah.
And you were just talking about when you go to bed, don't eat, right? And then wait. And so there is everyone kind of intermittent fast when they're asleep.
Exactly.
But if you wait and don't eat immediately, and Dr. Burton was talking about that, but if you're not hungry when you get up, he said just wait.
Right, and you can train your body to do the same thing. I mean, if you get up in the morning, you eat at 6 o'clock, or you drink coffee in the morning, etc., whenever you wake up, your body's going to require you to have that every single day. So the same way, when you train your body not to eat, right? And it's the most simplest thing that you can ever do. But really, it's not even a diet; it's just a choice.
Now you say it's simple because we take the nutrients, and
Exactly.
And so one of the things I want you guys to know that we both take. Dr. Wallet's Healthy Start Pack.
Yeah.
And so if you that's the one that has all the 90, and it's very high grade. He was nominated for the Nobel Prize in Medicine. And so it has all of them in there. You can go to Getting Better with Beal. There is a tab for shopping, and it says longevity. It says the Healthy Start Pack, and you can just go buy that. Or you can go on into longevity, because they also have a healthy weight loss pack if you need to lose weight. And so it's got your nutrients, and it's got the sweeties, which helps keep you the metabolic syndrome down. So anytime
that's
you eat,
remarkable, by the way.
yes, it doesn't let the blood sugar spike, so it keeps it down. And then they have Revs, which is it speeds up your weight loss.
Right.
And it's like amino acids or something in that Rev. I've heard him explain it. But when you do the Rev drops, you lose like 1 to 2 more pounds a week.
Right, if you're trying to lose over 50 pounds a week.
But even just the Healthy Start Pack, you were talking about someone getting on it.
Yeah, just a healthy start pack, just allowing you to get the nutrients in so your body doesn't feel like it's starving. You know, I normally provide supplements to my customers, and I tell them, I said, buy these supplements because I want to make sure that they're getting the magnesium, they're getting the vitamin C, they're getting the zinc, the iron, so that their body doesn't feel like it's on a diet, right? If you put the body on a diet, it's going to immediately stop you from losing weight. It doesn't like to do that because it's going to feel like it's going to die, so it doesn't want you to be on a diet, right? Diet. So there's a key word there. It doesn't want to do that. Exactly. So, you know, you want to make sure that it's just a natural osmosis of the body to where you're going through your day, you're eating your food, you're taking your supplements, and you're working out, right? For some people who are very active. So that way your body doesn't have to make that shift. It's just going to automatically go into the caloric intake versus calories out. So that's when we can talk about the calorie in, calorie out model, because it doesn't work for everybody. You know, just because someone is on a 1,200 calorie diet and they're pushing 2,000 calories out on the workout, it doesn't mean they're going to lose 2-3 pounds a day.
No, and Shoni Vaughn is a good example. You know, she trains all the time.
Exactly.
She's an Olympic athlete, and she carb loads, right? So she can have the strength to be able to throw that discus and be really strong. And she found that if she tried to lose weight, she would not be as strong. Right. And so with the keto, what you talked to her about was having the fat and burning the fat, so you don't have to carbo load and you don't get the glucose spikes and all that. And so the Healthy Start Pack, really, once you have your nutrients, then when you work out and you add a healthy diet, you know, just Dr. Wallach talks about the 10 bad foods not to have, but just eating well, because everything you read about weight loss talks about portion control, calories in, calories out, and exercise, right? And that's what people do all the time.
I don't count my calories, I'm going to be honest. I don't count my calories. It's going to drive me insane. I eat when I'm hungry. I don't eat when I'm not hungry.
And if you see Thomas, if you go to Facebook and see go to Getting Better with Beal and see this video, Thomas, I don't know, do you have any fat on you whatsoever?
I have fat on me. I have to keep myself warm in the winter, so I have the fat on me.
Some little fuzzy cheeks, so he has some fat. But no, it's amazing. And I know that you achieve it. So it's one thing when you want to lose weight or not gain weight.
Right.
It's another thing when you do what Thomas does and what he does with his people. I mean, you put some pictures on Facebook yesterday and the day before, and I was like, what?
Yeah, and these are 90-day transformations, right?
Oh, gosh.
And it's a short period of time, and I'm telling you, they're eating, but they're just eating specific foods.
Those pictures are amazing, and they look like they just toned so much in such honestly, a short amount of time.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I want to say is Dr. Wallach's book, Hell's Kitchen, Cures and Causes of Obesity and the Metabolic Syndrome. So check that book out.
It's a good one. We didn't even think about this angle, did we?
Right.
We didn't even think about this angle, did we?
I know, and then he did this that way, like great thing, because that's the point, because you really need to talk here.
Yeah.
And so, but I can't have it where this is in our face, right?
Yeah.
It's been the hardest thing to figure out, and so.
So now by moving this way, we can see that.
Yeah. Yes. We were talking about.
I'm not in the habit of moving people
No, we were
around.
just talking about the miracle of it.
Yeah, I'm like,
Because
he
we
just
keep
moved this.
trying-
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Why didn't you think about it?
Yeah, you talk into the window, and you sort of hang your nose. You hang your nose over this
You hang your nose over there.
You hang your nose right over that,
Okay.
right?
So you got
It's actually, if you listen to the room, kind of echoey and so on and so forth, but these microphones are set up so that they only grab what's around them. And then they come through because they're condenser mics. They come through so strong, they blow off all the background noise with the processor we have back here.
Oh, wow.
So it's a really technical setup, right? And it really works well. But the one caveat is you got to hang your nose over the windscreen.
Okay.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
You're here on a Saturday.
Yes, I am.
Wow.
Yes, I am. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I haven't been here.
Thomas is John.
Thomas, John David Wells. Sit down. Sit down. Great to meet you. I'm the general manager of the radio station.
Nice to meet you,
Good
sir.
to meet you as well. Let me get some of this garbage out of your way. Garbage.
We did pretty good this time getting everything set ready.
Yeah, you sounded good. Come on in. That was good.
We were like, that's awesome. So where do you want to go now?
We can touch back on the amount of sugar.
Okay, I'll just let you start.
Yeah.
So when we come back, you to go. You know how to do an intro right now?
Yeah. This
Yes, sir.
needs to be bent up, not down. So if you
That's-
scoot up,
So and
if you scoot up,
Okay.
and then maybe turn towards him, and then get a little bit closer to the, yeah.
that's good.
It needs to bend a little. It's like your elbow. It's like if you hyperextend your elbow, that's what that does. It really screws them up. Just so you know,
Oh, hyper. Oh, no.
right? So the more bend you get them, the better. So if you scoot to the table and bend it a little bit.
Okay.
So bend this a little bit.
Okay, just make sure.
Normally what
Yeah,
happens
you're
is,
not hitting because you're off to
Normally-
the side.
normally what happens is we have you sit with your belly button beside the mark, and then we do
Oh, these are
this.
marks.
We do that. See? So if you put two wheels over the cord, and then you face in, right? Hang your nose over the screen.
How's mine? I just moved it back.
Yeah,
That's all.
Just what you see, teach a person to fish, and you feed them for life.
Can you fix the camera just a teensy bit?
Yes, I can.
So it'll have it.
I can fix it a teensy
Just
bit.
so he's in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I mean, you're in it. You're
Normally what I do is
Buffy.
I set it up here, and I put this out of the way.
I
Put
just
that
wanted
out of
to
the
be
way.
closer, like, but with him. So
There you go. How's that?
I can't see.
Is that pretty?
That's pretty.
It's
Thank
pretty.
you. We're back on new scenery. What's the number? What's the number thing?
Oh, that's hashtag.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's one of our morning. That's our morning show. Kathy,
Can I move it or can I move that?
why do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, we normally have weird things
People
hanging
will
around the
just be
stairs.
like, what's the hashtag? They'll know.
Exactly. But that's the
Thank you.
point. See, that's the point. You want them to look at the room and go, "What the hell is that?"
There's a
Make sure that
hashtag.
that's right
Oh, we
in
got
front.
it. Hold on.
There you go. Yes.
Well, that's what.
Yeah. See.
Yeah.
See, there's a reason.
Thank you. We're getting better. All the time. Welcome back. Thomas is going to share more for us about the sugar, and again, just really wrapping up to remind you guys what not to do and what to do.
Right. So we were talking about how we start our day, and we're talking about how parents start their day, right? And we're talking about how they would give them, let's just say, cereal bowl, milk, orange juice, and then we'll send them on their way.
I know
So-
adults that do that. They have their cereal or granola.
Yeah, or granola. So we're talking about at least 30 grams of sugar just by that one morning. And believe it or not, it only takes a teaspoon of sugar for your body's insulin level to go up. And that's all it requires. It doesn't require a whole lot. So for you to give them 30 grams of sugar,
So that's,
Yeah.
Is that 30 teaspoons, right? 30
well,
grams per teaspoon.
it's about 10 teaspoons of sugar for that meal, right? And you're just basically inserting the sugar in there.
Mm.
And so you're having them to spike their insulin up early in the morning, right? So I pulled up the American Diabetes Association. They have a survey out regarding the amount of sugar that we're taking in. So this is back in 1770. The average person consumes about 4 pounds of sugar per year. This is 4 pounds of sugar per year, right? And then by 1970, the average American consumes 123 pounds of sugar per year. And then once we got to the 2000, around 2012, we're now consuming 168 pounds of sugar per year. This is per family, per person.
And sugar's just in everything.
It's in everything.
And so we work so hard to not have sugar, and it is in everything. So that is part of the reason from that study with the how it's getting harder to be thin. Is part of that reason. Millennials now, 25-year-old, would have to eat so much less and work out so much harder, and it just keeps getting more every year than somebody 30 to 50 years ago. And so that dynamic will keep going because of the sugar and then all of the hormones they put in food too. Well, they give it to the animals and then we eat it. And so there are so many reasons that we just keep gaining. Our society gets larger and larger, but also the lie or the false studies and things that they've done so much to what we eat and how we eat that we don't even know if we go back to the basics.
Right.
Get your nutrients. And those soils are so depleted that if you happen to eat plants, which a lot of people don't even eat plants.
Even if it's organic, you're still not getting all your nutrients.
Yeah, because the soils are depleted now. They don't have it. And they talk about just lettuce. We used to be able to eat like iceberg lettuce and it had nutrients. Now it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. It's just water.
Yeah, it's just water. And a banana, they said, has 70% less nutrients than it did in 1998.
And we're importing bananas from another country. We can't even grow bananas here.
No, and the bananas come way before they're even ripe. So there's also, so our food is just depleted of nutrients. So if you do eat plants, things that grow, even then, no matter how healthy you try to eat, you are going to get cribbing, you're going to get craving, you're going to get muscle cramps, you're going to get tired, you're going to get all those nutrient deficient symptoms.
Yeah, stress, fatigue, weight gain, all of those comes
arthritis, diseases, And so eating gets harder and harder. And this portion control thing, portion control. I know people that eat so little. They do like Nutrisystems or whatever. They're eating so little. And Dr. Wallach went out to help share because she had gotten down to 200 calories a day.
Wow.
Yeah. And I know that maybe it wasn't Dr. Wallach. It was Cliff Sheets and Larry North, actually. I take that back. Because she had no energy and couldn't. She was like in a corner in the dark. Because she'd gotten farther down. You cannot do that. You can't. There's such an easier way.
Right. I mean, I can understand fasting, but you still have to have your calories in.
So explain it to us a little bit when we think of the butter and the cream and all the simple things that you can do, and enjoy the holidays with awesome food.
Oh yeah, definitely. So during the holiday, I normally try to cook as much of the indulgent food as much as possible. This is probably when I would say, hey, if you want to have a little bacon, it's okay as long as it's uncured, because you want to have that savory flavor, right? Savory, bacon. But it replaces the sweet. So if I add more savor to the food, I add the good fats back into the food, like my green beans. I don't like to get green beans from the can. I would get fresh green beans. I would saute it in butter. I would put a little bit of bacon on there. I would add almonds on it. I would add cranberries at the end of that. So that way I have a little bit of sweet, a little bit of salty, right? And a lot of flavor. A lot of flavor.
I mean, bacon itself, but adding the fats back in, the healthy fats, butter, cream, lard, butter, bacon, those things you can enjoy and have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. Eating well. Just remember your nutrients. Get your nutrients. Get the book Hell's Kitchen, the causes, cures for obesity and the metabolic syndrome.
Highly recommended.
Go to Getting Better with Ann Beal website and order the Healthy Start Pack from Longevity. And then do all the things you know, but just remember, eat well, get your fats, and enjoy the holidays. Then you can have portion control. Have the quiet time in the morning if you can. Have a routine. Focus on what you want and reach your goals. Come back here next week, Getting Better, so we can all get better together. That's 12 seconds. Somebody wave to the camera. Yeah.